2024年只卖了一台车。
In 2024, this car brand sold only one car in China in an entire year. The brand is called Polestar. Many people may have never seen it on the streets, and the chances of encountering one are as rare as spotting a Lamborghini on the road, perhaps even lower. I've driven this car, and my first impression was that its exterior design is quite thoughtful, and the chassis tuning is well done. But here's the problem. It lacks many features that Chinese consumers care about most. For instance, voice control is almost non-existent, and the car's smart technology is practically zero. Interestingly, in Europe and globally, its sales rank in the top 5, yet in China, it sold just one unit in a whole year. Clearly, the brand never intended to market itself domestically or make an effort to truly engage with the local market. The Polestar 2 continues the cold, distant image of its predecessor, the North Star, and in fact, it feels even more aloof. While the chassis remains impressive, after driving it, you'll realize what it really lacks is a symbol that could resonate with people and make a lasting impression.
Due to the involution in China's car industry, a once obscure car brand under Geely suddenly attracted public attention. The reason is simple. In June, its sales amounted to only 6 units. People joked that its sales were even lower than the so-called old man's joy, slow-moving electric cars often seen on the streets. The term old man's joy refers to a type of simple low-speed electric vehicle popular among elderly people due to its low price and easy operation. Even more lamentable than old man's joy is the fate of Polestar. When the brand was first established, it was full of ambition. Backed by an automotive giant like Geely, and was once dubbed the rich second-generation car brand by the market. Yet today it has almost faded into obscurity. It's hard not to wonder, how did a luxury new energy car brand once so high profile end up in such a predicament? Polestar's history dates back to the 1990s. At that time, it was just a small Swedish racing team, gradually making a name for itself in the Nordic racing circuit by modifying Volvo models to compete in touring car championships. With its professional tuning capabilities and excellent track performance, Polestar became Volvo's official tuning partner. This relationship deepened over time, and eventually Volvo decided to incorporate Polestar, making it its official high-performance division. From that point on, Polestar officially stepped into the spotlight, focusing on the research and development of high-performance vehicles under the Volvo brand. As time went on, Polestar evolved beyond being just Volvo's tuning department. After being acquired in 2015, it became an independent electric performance car brand. The team previously dedicated to racing was rebranded as CN Racing, continuing to compete on the track. After Geely acquired Volvo in 2010, CN Racing, with the full support of Geely, began collaborating with Lynk & Co. They formed the Lynk & Co. CN Racing team, competing in world-class touring car events such as the WTCR and TCR World Tour. Polestar started with an exceptionally high benchmark, essentially born with the golden key. As a high-end electric vehicle brand jointly developed by Geely and Volvo, it had access to resources and privileges that few other brands could rival from the very beginning. First, Polestar has almost unlimited access to the technological reserves of both Geely and Volvo. For example, Polestar 1 utilized Volvo's SPA platform, a mid to large vehicle architecture. Although it was a plug-in hybrid, the craftsmanship and foundation were exceptionally luxurious. Polestar 2 uses a compact modular architectural platform developed by the China European Automotive Technology Center. Lynk & Co. also uses this platform, but Polestar tuning and positioning are at a high level. For Polestar 3 and Polestar 4, the brand has gone straight to the top-tier platforms, Volvo's SPA2 and Geely's SEA platform. In other words, Polestar can prioritize using its parent company's most advanced platforms, a privilege that even its sibling Lynk & Co. doesn't enjoy. Polestar not only has its own independent vehicle development team, but has also established R&D and testing centers in Gothenburg, Sweden, and Coventry, UK. In Sweden, the focus is on safety and the Scandinavian minimalist design, continuing Volvo's legacy. Meanwhile, in the UK, the focus is on new materials and advanced manufacturing techniques. For example, Polestar 5 uses a full aluminium bonded body, which is both lightweight and durable, something that typical steel-bodied cars can't achieve. Polestar not only has research and development centers, but also built a very unique factory in Chengdu, Tianfu New District. Opened in 2017, this factory was designed by the renowned Norwegian architectural firm Snøhetta. Unlike typical car factories, it features not only the 4 main workshops, stamping, welding, painting, and final assembly, but also houses the country's first production line capable of mass-producing carbon fiber car bodies. This production line was unique in China at the time. One could say that while Polestar is manufacturing cars, it's simultaneously turning its factory into a museum of automobiles, emphasizing both aesthetics and craftsmanship. What makes it even more special is that Polestar enjoys a high degree of autonomy. Although Geely almost completely controls Polestar, the company has largely allowed Polestar to handle management appointments, strategy development, and even operations and personnel arrangements in China. This means Polestar not only receives technical and financial support from Geely and Volvo, but also has considerable independence to shape its brand identity and market strategy according to its own philosophy. Despite these top-tier resources, Polestar's market performance can be summed up in one word: underwhelming. Polestar launched its first model, the Polestar 1, in 2017, but deliveries didn't begin until 2020. The real sales driver has been the Polestar 2, but from 2020 to 2024, this was nearly the only model in its lineup. The slow release of new models has left Polestar significantly lagging behind during the golden period of rapid growth in the electric vehicle sector. From a sales perspective, Polestar's performance has also been lackluster. Global sales from 2020 to 2024 were 10,200, 29,000, 52,000, 55,000, and 45,000 units. While there is some growth, it appears quite mediocre when placed against the backdrop of the explosive growth in the overall new energy vehicle market. Particularly in China, sales have fallen from an initial 2,000 units to just over 1,000, making it almost negligible. Instead, the European and American markets have contributed about 95% of the sales, while the Chinese market has gradually become a marginal zone. The financial situation has only worsened. According to financial reports, Polestar's revenue has declined and its profits continues to deteriorate. In 2022, revenue was over $2.4 billion with a gross margin of just 4%. In 2023, revenue dropped to almost $2.4 billion and the gross margin turned negative at negative 17.4%. In the first half of 2024, revenue was $918 million, down 26% year on year, and the gross margin further dropped to a negative 3.2%. Not only is profitability out of reach, but the company is losing even more money. To sustain operations, Polestar has had to frequently rely on financing. Between 2023 and 2024, Geely stepped in twice with emergency loans totaling about $250 million. And in 2024, the company raised $950 million through international banks. Meanwhile, Volvo chose to significantly reduce its stake, lowering its holdings from 48 to 18%, seemingly distancing itself from Polestar. This year's sales figures are even more shocking. Polestar's sales in June plummeted to single digits, with only 6 cars sold. In April and May, sales were so low that they couldn't be properly displayed, and in March, just 1 car was sold. In total, Polestar's retail sales in China for the first half of the year were under 70 units. This performance not only stands in stark contrast to its positioning as a luxury electric brand, but also raises serious concern about its future prospects in China. Additionally, according to First Financial Report on July 29, Polestar test drive services in China are now only available by phone appointment. Its online car buying system and official online store have been completely shut down. The only remaining offline store is located in the Shanghai Qiantan area. This series of moves have led many to speculate that Polestar may be gradually withdrawing from China. In response to these concerns, an insider from Polestar publicly stated that the brand would not exit China but is undergoing a deep transformation of its sales model, with adjustments expected to be completed by the fourth quarter of this year. In fact, Polestar has already caused quite a stir earlier this year. In April, Polestar announced the termination of its agreement with DreamStart, ending their joint venture in China, Polestar Era Technology, and reclaiming its distribution rights in China. The company was established in June 2023, originally intended to strengthen Polestar's localization capabilities. After a year of operations, Polestar sales in China showed no significant improvement and continue to remain sluggish. Polestar has also faced quality controversies during its launch period, with some car owners reporting issues with the vehicles and expressing concerns about the reliability of the products. A car owner stated,
This car has issues. Both the driver's and passenger side doors make strange noises.
Other people mentioned that according to the well-known Chinese automotive app Dongchedi, Polestar has initiated multiple recalls since 2020 due to defects in the electrical system, brake software, and rear-view camera, leading to a continued deterioration of its safety reputation. In addition, some customers have stated that the more challenging problem seems to be the after-sales service.
Now, Polestar's after-sales service is run by robots. Originally, there were 6 people in after-sales, but now there are 2 robots, and the rest have resigned. Even the salespersons have left, saying that Polestar's internal situation is very chaotic.
Other people mentioned hearing that Polestar's production line has already stopped. Phoenix Finance also pointed out that the new energy vehicle market has entered a highly competitive phase, where even companies that excel in product, cost, and marketing still struggle to guarantee success. Polestar's predicament is not only due to intense external competition, but also the accumulation of internal issues. Since its establishment in 2017, Polestar has launched 4 models, but its market positioning has consistently oscillated between ultra-luxury and mass-market segments. The first model, the Polestar 1, was positioned as a high-performance plug-in hybrid sports coupe with a price of up to 1.5 million yuan, limited to 500 units. Then the Polestar 2 starting price dropped to 300,000 yuan, shifting towards the mainstream market. The Polestar 3 returned to the luxury segment, priced around 700,000 yuan, while the Polestar 4 returned to the 300,000 yuan range. This significant fluctuation in positioning has not only blurred the brand's image, but also made it more difficult for consumers to form a clear perception. Several media outlets have commented that Polestar has product weaknesses. Many of its models rely on Volvo's internal combustion engine platform converted to electric, resulting in low space efficiency. Additionally, the vehicle's range and smart features have not been well accepted by consumers. With core research and development controlled in Sweden, the brand's production localization has been slow, making it difficult to quickly adapt to the needs of the Chinese market. In search of breakthroughs, Polestar has continually adjusted its management team. In just 8 years, the company has replaced 7 heads of its China market, with an average tenure of less than 1.5 years. The frequent changes in management have caused instability in strategy execution and market expansion. As of now, Polestar still hasn't shown significant improvement. Some analysts believe that Polestar's predicament reflects the structural issues faced by many electric vehicle companies. Many car makers are overly reliant on government subsidies, neglect market positioning and capacity utilization, and blindly develop new projects or expand production scales, ultimately increasing risks. In response, some people have complained.
I actually didn't plan to buy this car at first, but considering its rarity and the fact that it's high-end brand from Volvo, plus the strong sales data in the European market at the time, I decided to make the purchase.
Now, Polestar's sales outlets in China have been reduced to just 2, and sometimes even basic after-sales services are difficult to guarantee. This has left many car owners regretting their decision. The idea that rarity increases value has not only failed to materialize with Polestar, but has instead become a burden. According to financial data, Polestar is deeply mired in severe profitability issues. From 2020 to 2024, the company's cumulative net loss attributable to the parent company exceeds $5.1 billion US, with over $2 billion in net losses in 2024 alone. By the end of 2024, Polestar's total assets stood at only $4.1 billion US, while the total liabilities had soared to $7.4 billion US, pushing the company into a state of insolvency. This car company, which seemed to be on the brink of collapse, has not fallen. The reason is that in June, Geely's chairman Li Shufu stepped in once again, injecting funds into Polestar, allowing it to stay afloat. On June 16th, Polestar announced that it had received a $200 million equity investment from PSD Investments, which is effectively controlled by Li Shufu. But it is worth noting that Mr. Li's investment in Polestar does not appear to be a simple matter. Strangely, this investment did not come with any performance requirements. Mr. Li and PSD Investment did not tie the funding to sales, profitability, or new car plans. The terms mainly involves adjusting the capital structure and ownership control, while also injecting cash into Polestar to ensure the major shareholders retain control and allows the company to continue operating. Polestar has stated that this financing will mainly be used for working capital needs and general corporate purposes to address its ongoing losses and support global business expansion. In other words, this seems more like a lifeline infusion rather than a direct move to push product or market strategies. The question remains, given that Polestar is almost non-existent in the domestic market, why is Li still willing to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to keep it alive? Even more intriguing is that this investment does not come with any performance targets or strategic constraints. What exactly does he see in Polestar? In fact, while Polestar performance in the domestic market has been lackluster, its overseas sales are not bad. In the first half of this year, its global retail sales reached over 30,000 units, a 51% year-on-year increase. In the second quarter, it sold 18,000 units, marking a 38% increase. But the rapid growth in sales has not alleviated the immense financial pressure. Mr. Li's investment has provided support for Polestar's production capacity and market expansion in Europe and North America. Some analysts have pointed out that the rapid expansion of China's EV industry in recent years has led to serious overcapacity, with domestic EV caught in a brutal price war, squeezing profits to extremely low levels. In this environment, deepening focus on the domestic market hardly generates profits, so betting on international market has become a crucial strategy. Li's investment in Polestar and his push for localized production in the US and Europe are essentially aimed at bypassing tariff barriers and geopolitical risk. It allows a Chinese-controlled international brand to establish itself in Western markets. In other words, this is not just a simple car company rescue, but rather a strategic move by Geely to secure a place in the global EV landscape. Most importantly, it also aligns with the Chinese Communist Party's ambition to control the global market. The CCP has long been adept at using infrastructure plus manufacturing as a diplomatic tool, with the Belt and Road Initiative being a prime example. Now, this model is being replicated in the automotive industry. EV, as one of the few industries where China can directly compete with Europe and the US in high-end manufacturing, are seen by the CCP as a new national emblem following high-speed rail diplomacy. By mass-producing affordable EV and entering markets in developing countries such as South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, China can not only quickly increase its presence and influence, but also create dependency in these countries on Chinese transportation and supply chains. It can be said that exporting domestic overcapacity has become a new geopolitical bargaining chip for the CCP. Polestar's high-end positioning precisely fills a gap in China's automotive industry in the international market. It can both help expand market share and compete with European and American brands in the high-end segment. For the CCP, if a Chinese brand can succeed in the global high-end market, it will help elevate Made in China to a new stage. Geely's globalization strategy, especially through Polestar and Volvo, perfectly aligns with the CCP's broader goals of industrial upgrading and capital export.